Hello, I'm John Christophers from Zero Carbon House and Retrofit Balsall Heath. Delighted to be presenting as part of Birmingham's first ever Retrofit Action Week. And I'm going to be following on from what Imicor and others have been talking about, the retrofit reimagined ideas, particularly what if the climate transition and retrofit of our homes and streets were designed, owned and governed by the people who live there. And Retrofit Balsall Heath is hoping to is stop. Hello, I'm John Christophers from Retrofit Balsall Heath and Zero Carbon House. Delighted to be talking to you as part of Birmingham's first ever Retrofit Action Week. And following on from Imicor and others talking about retrofit reimagined, I want particularly to try and help answer the question, what if the retrofit of our homes and streets were designed, owned and governed by the people who live there? Because that's exactly what we've been asking in Retrofit Balsall Heath, which is a neighbourhood collective looking at community retrofit. And we're particularly looking at a retrofit vision street by street for one of our streets, Melrose Avenue, as an exemplar for the whole of the rest of Balsall Heath. So the story of Retrofit Balsall Heath perhaps can be traced back to Balsall Heath's Zero Carbon House, the UK's first ever zero carbon retrofit, 2009, and many dozens of open days since then. People around the neighbourhood have come to understand what retrofit could mean. So taking some of the 6 shifts, the systemic shifts envisioned by Retrofit Reimagined, we're trying to look particularly at what would it mean if we move from individual customers to doing this as a neighbourhood, the retrofit of our homes and streets as a neighbourhood thing where we can support one another and co-lead this partnership. And secondly, what if we move from individual houses to doing whole streets? And the street that we're looking at particularly is Melrose Avenue. In the press article here, you can see some of the residents and others. And the press article says the future is still in Birmingham, part of a grassroots movement that could be what they're calling a retrofit revolution all over Britain. Well, here is Balsall Heath, just 2 miles south of the city centre. You can see the darker parts of this are our terraced housing, more than 100 years old. The red square is Melrose Avenue, where there are 26 homes, just off a cul-de-sac, a pedestrian pathway, not on a road. You may know Balsall Heath for UB40, the Balti Triangle. You may not know us as the UK's first ever COVID vaccination centre, the first solar church in Birmingham, and the first and I think only mosque to be accredited UN observers at the climate summits, the COP climate summits, and the home of IFES, the Islamic Foundation for Ecology and Environmental Sciences. So although we've got a lot of old and cold and therefore damp and mouldy homes leading to respiratory conditions, and a lot of those sorts of things have sadly led to the worst COVID deaths in Birmingham, I unbiasedly, as a Balsall Heathen, believe we have the best community spirit in the UK, as evidenced by our Balsall Heath nature map, a collaboration of mosques and churches and others. And that has meant that with this collaboration with so many different partners, we've been able to sign up 1,400 people, amazingly, for the Lads 3 retrofit work in Balsall Heath, and also the wider areas and going into Tyseley and Acox Green. 649 homes completed. We've had a lot of campaigning on the issue, and we've managed to do our own community-led leafleting and messaging, cutting our bills, improving our community, reducing carbon. We had a great victory to force a local development to put in heat pumps rather than polluting gas boilers. And here are some of the 23 organisations we've been collaborating with. This is very much the MEC Trust, the Bahu Trust, many other partners have been part of this success story. And we were amazed that a national award was given, looking at what a community-orientated and scalable retrofit scheme could be. And our local sixth formers have developed a board game all about retrofitting Balsall Heath. So some of our ideas have been particularly street champions, looking at training and skills and jobs and the local microeconomy in Balsall Heath itself. looking at a sort of a structure where we can have both resident members who want to get their homes retrofitted, but also trade members, local people who have the skills to do this work, looking at growing trees, community ownership models. I'll say more about it, but particularly on the community front, we know that our first efforts with these homes have not been perfect in every way, and we've had, as part of Retrofit Reimagined last year, we had a very important residents panel looking at what are the lessons to be learned, which I think we feel particularly are that the more community leadership there is in this process, the better the local communications can be. This is Mr. Khan and me on Melrose Avenue. He's been a wonderful street champion for the road, having lived on Melrose Avenue for 40 years. And so with all those different bits that we're trying to put together, I think the key thing is if this can be a community-led partnership, co-led with the City Council and other partners, but community leadership, not just community consultation or involvement once the big decisions have been made. And we know there are precedents that show that that really works. So what do we mean? Well, retrofitting all these homes 100 years old, we want to do all the insulation measures which are mentioned there, ventilation and insulation of the walls, the floors, the roofs, triple glazing ideally, so that the energy use can come right down, perhaps a cut of 80%. Then that bit of energy that we need can come from heat pumps, from solar electric and perhaps solar hot water panels. But we're looking much more widely at that, at other wider sustainability issues. So welcome to A Vision for Melrose Avenue. This is the road, and our scheme for feasibility study is to look at this whole street. Can we look at all 26 homes on the street, so that rather than doing individually, we can take a sort of collective journey, looking at as much community leadership and ownership as we can on that. And part of the work that we're doing, we're going to have filmmakers coming in to do some storytelling. Really, I hope to demystify what this strange word retrofit means, and to film the different stages of that process. But as part of that, there are opportunities for developing local skills and knowledge and mentoring opportunities, leading perhaps to opportunities for jobs in this green sector. So we're hoping, as I've said, for big energy cuts with this insulation to the houses. We've already got about 5 or 6 homes have got solar panels already, on-site renewables, which can include heat pumps, solar panels, and possibly even a borehole in the middle. We think healthy homes are so important, and by reducing the mold and the cold, but also by using natural building materials like cellulose, wood fibre, cork. These are natural building materials which don't have toxins, poisonous things in them. They don't have an impact on carbon emissions nearly as badly as petrochemical based insulation materials. They're good for people's health, and they're good for the health of the buildings, so that the buildings can stay breathable, healthy buildings. The local jobs and skills are really important to us, as I've mentioned. Upskilling, shared spaces for the community as part of this is something we've been working on in Melrose Avenue, with some retrofit reimagined front garden street furniture, which we've made together in the last few months, and gives people places to sit and meet and build a sort of shared sense of the local road there. Transport choices, including perhaps shared electric bicycles, but we've been helping people to look at alternatives to cars for all their journeys. We've been looking at composting and rainwater harvesting, and how we can make a sort of circular economy, if you like, there on the road. We've been looking as well at biodiversity, at green spaces, at perhaps growing a fruit tree in every garden, or almost every garden. There are apple trees, almond trees already planted now and coming into blossom. We've looked at raising the concrete slabs here to plant Melrose mini meadows, and to look at understanding what goes into making healthy soil and so forth. and really the big paradigm shift that represents, lifting the concrete, coming back to a greener city, putting up bird boxes, as you can see in the photo top left there, planting seeds. And I think the key to this really is, this is a quote from Sheikh Nuru Mohammed at the launch of Retrofit Balsall Heath summer a couple of years ago. When we come together as a community, we can take this to the next level. No, when we come together, not if. And I think what we've been trying to do, looking at this particular road as a little sort of microcosm, a small example of what might happen all over Balsall Heath, is to look at it house by house individually, but then broadening out to the whole street, to see what can be done to each house collectively together. Finally, I just want to give you a warm invitation. This Saturday, the 18th of May, we have our Retrofit Balsall Heath Open Day. Lots of activities. Book on this link, and we'll see you on Saturday, I hope.